Well, hola, tacos. It's me, Suze Pratt from Sophia's Emporium. We're going to do a live stream today. I haven't done Google Live for some time, or YouTube Live, or Where is YouTubers, or any of these things. I've been doing my Facebook live stream, but I thought it might be nice to get back to YouTube. So, let me give you a quick rundown of what we're going to do. I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and there's a lot of talk about the indigenous burial mounds here between Cahokia and St. Louis. So I have a little story about our town, Ferguson, and earlier I did part one, all the background data, and live streamed it on Facebook at the Prophetic Destiny of Missouri, and also at a place where it said hashtag YouTuber. And that's a new place that I don't know about, which is why I can't say where I was. Isn't that funny? Now, sometimes when I live stream on Facebook Live, my tuba get a little squirrely, my stream, my place of being. So I thought we'd give this a shot. And if it doesn't work, I'll jump back to something else. And if that doesn't work, I'll take pictures. We got an interactive video here, so let me lock my door. And wait, was my front door locked? Being a cop's kid and living in the ghetto, you always want to make sure your shit is locked. And look, it isn't. I would have booked out of Dodge without locking my door, and my dad would not be happy with his daughter. By the way, for you guys that don't know me, I am a holistic stylist. By trade, I'm a lowly hairdresser that used non-toxic products and other unique concepts that would really work under Gerald Salente's protocol for right livelihood business, which means first we do no harm and oops, okay, I gotta be really careful. Anyhow, first do no harm and care about the people around you, the community, so on and so forth. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll see. Okay, let's see if we're live and if we can stay connected. I'm gonna turn the camera around. Aren't I? Okay, good. So, here I am at a point in the city of Ferguson. And long before the AT&T building sat where they're going to unleash the 5G on everybody in St. Louis, you know, long before this building sat here, the man that owned Jeske Park, this large parcel of land, he sat up top a great high hill that was even higher than the building, the elevation of this building. And it was cut down to build here. And so what my belief is that when you see and consider how high this elevation is, we're going to walk to January Wabash Park, and that's a historical park here in Ferguson. They have a pond there now, but it is and originally was. Now, this video is for my buddy on YouTube, new friend of mine, and it's all small letters. It's CFAPPS 7865, and he is a genius. He flows like nobody's business with the Google Maps, and he can take you down into a site and show you the real truth of the historical sacred sites here in North America that people don't know about. And this is relevant because you can't say you discovered America when it was a civilized society before you got here to kill everybody and hide the history. That's why we're doing this entire video. That's the mission. Now, before we take off from the steps here at the Big Yellow House, I want to show you the conditions that are acceptable to the city of Ferguson from my next door neighbor, and they both worked for the city of Ferguson. And weird enough, now I have to tag it back to prophetic destiny in Missouri and the war between the Kansas City Jayhawks and the Missouri Bushwhackers. And weird enough, this couple that worked for the city, the woman was a Kansas City Jayhawk, and after the tornado in 2011, they had the whole motif switched over to Jayhawk blue. But here I am in a town where I'm not allowed to work, and harassed and written up on false accusations with unsigned paperwork that gets me in trouble and leads to all sorts of trouble. I mean, leads to terrible things, and people think this is a joke. But I just want to show you what I live next door to. And I am not a fancy woman. Oh, house. That's where we live. Of course, they'd love for us to not live there, but this is an important piece of property. The Zingheim home was built 118 years ago. And I also read to you the history of Ferguson. And, you know, all those high rollers, nobody mentions Zingheim. The home that we live in is it was built by the same guy, and the architect's name was Nolte, Edward Nolte. But this home was built by the same guy that built the Masonic Temple down on Delmar and some other significant buildings. What I was saying earlier was the elevation of a spell or AT would be as high as the Yellow House. Do you see what I'm saying? And the colonel guy that ran this orchard, this land parcel, had his home higher than the top of that building. And that's why I ask you to consider that it could be an ancient burial mound. Orientation. Okay, I'm back. So they're letting me I guess I have to walk slow. See, this is actually what's known as a fallout shelter. I'm talking about the way it was built. And it also has its own generator up there. That's the yellow box. About 20 people work here each day. And like I said, where I think the 5G is going up, it's underground for parking. You never see anybody go in there, but you can see the garage right here. Now, back before Mike Brown was slain here in Ferguson, the workers used to have their little barbecues out here in this cute little seating area. But that was a long time ago. Now, here we are on Florissant Road. And you know, they say Missouri, St. Louis is one of the most dangerous places to live. And I've lived here my whole life. And it is dangerous. But it gives you a good training ground on how to stay safe. Good, how you... Excuse me? Oh, it'll be all right. Have a good one. Dude told me the sun was gonna kick my ass today. Sweet guy. Young. Redheads are used to being burnt. First Baptist Church of Ferguson. When we moved to the Big Yellow House, a couple button-up dudes came over and told Joe they had a men's club and he could join and show them how to keep his woman in line. And you gotta think, They didn't even know me. I mean, why do you want to say you need to keep me in line? Ugh, I already know the reasons why. This is about 10 minutes away from where I went to high school at Lutheran High School North. So, of course, as a teenager, I ran down here. And I actually had a friend by the name of Tim. And he'd pick me up from high school before I drove. And we'd come to the park and hang out. And actually speak about subjects that were interesting. And of course, we'd do a little nature stuff. Smoke a little herb, you know. So it was always a part of my life. But the reason we're walking up here is because the other day I noticed that they had caution tape all around the historic amphitheater. And it looks like they're tearing part of it down. And I thought I needed to come over and see and document it before too much happened. Now, where we are would be the end of what they call the historic business district here in Ferguson. Now, of course, dividing lines only make wars between people, so there's really no need for them. But down here, territory is very divided. You know, between the right side of town or which school you would want your kid in. And that's why everybody puts them in the private school system under the Catholic flavor around here. It's different everywhere. But of course, like those neighbors next door, I mean, you could ask yourself, they were Catholic. They were one of the ones that didn't want me to be here and told me I'd never be anything. I mean, they're the ones that made the paperwork possible. And they just go scot-free and move away, which is a lot better than living by me, isn't it? But I'll always bring things up and reference them and tag them together because I represent myself pro se in a war that is serious business. And this is my life. And I encourage everyone to take their lives as seriously as I take mine. Sure, I cross at the crosswalk. Now I'm walking pretty fast and they're already telling me my happy ass shouldn't be walking. That's not very friendly. Although, in 2010, Ferguson was given the award of one of America's most playful cities. So it's supposed to be fun here. It could be fun here. But there's always been some aristocrat oligarchs shitting all over the fun down here ever since 1894, when they had to hide the evidence, I guess. Here's our guys that were, you know, killed in service that ran here in Ferguson. I'm back again. Those parts can always be edited out. I guess I walked too fast. Alright, so we're gonna go over to the amphitheater and see what's going on. Recently, I was driving home, like I said, and I saw suspicious construction and I didn't know what it was. Here's the pool that my neighbor ran. And the last 2 years they had to shut it down early because they didn't have the proper chemicals to keep the pool going. And where this park makes its money is having the swim competitions. Nice pool. I mean, when it's clean. You know. Okay, now I do see some construction vehicles up ahead. But I'm surely allowed to walk and talk, right? Can't get in too much trouble. I was told my entire life that I shouldn't speak about these things and that I'm going to get in trouble. But it really doesn't resonate with me, and I've, like I said, always been in trouble through other people's eyes. Now, of course, this area got torn up with the tornado, but this used to be a lot of shade and a lot of benches, and like I told you, you want to talk about some big-ass family reunions. And then that's where you get into a little bit of hubbub between the black people and the white people. Because really, this park is used for family reunions that are primarily black. Okay. So we've got a fence up. You can see that black area. I can't see what's behind it yet. We'll go it a different way. And this has been reworked. You can see something's been pulled out. Now there used to be a really big barbecue pit. You know, like you used to see at the old parks, right? Like back in the day. I'm gonna sit down. Okay, so they've pulled out that bottom area. Let me turn this around. Okay. And pulled out a bunch of concrete things that would make that usable. I have no idea, really, the whys or hows of this whole thing. Okay, let me flip you back for a minute. Okay, you can see that that water I'm talking about would be where the natural spring was. People come here and gather and they fish and do a lot of different activities, but anywhere in this area is now kind of, I guess I would call it not user friendly. We're looking through a big grove of trees, I know, and you can see the hill going up the street there. That's where we're going to find the middle school that was in the historic book. So here again, if you see how low this area is and consider how high the surrounding sides are, I'd pretty much any important place in this town was built on a major hill. I didn't bring my purse. I grabbed my smokes and a lighter and my keys and a soda that's not flavored with you know what, because it's terrible what they're flavoring the soda with. This is from the health food store. Alright, let's keep moving. Let's just see what we can do. I can be balls to the wall. Now they've cleared some more land over there. They got sod, or that seed down. I guess they're going to grow grass, right? Before that was all, see what I'm saying? And there was a big barbecue pit there. And you can see all the tables that just used to be out and about. So really, there's nothing behind this barrier, is there? Got a bunch of dug up dirt. We got the sod roll out. It's a lovely park. Now, Up at the top of that next hill, you can see how high the school sets. That's just the lower part of the school. The elevation goes up from there. And of course they put the lighthouse in some time ago. Not sure quite why. They biting today?
A little bit.
Yeah, right on. And of course here would be the building for the pool. Hi Dorian, how you doing, man? I'm at Wabash Park talking about the Mounds of St. Louis, talking about history being destroyed. And so I thought I'd take a walk to Wabash to see what was going on at the amphitheater that's kind of being given an adjustment. Look at those little cute twins there. Both them little babies in matching outfits. You know, there's a lot of talk about twins and doubles these days. Can you imagine what it'd be like to have somebody that looked just like you? And then you guys get in cahoots and figure out who you're gonna fool or what you're gonna do. What are you saying, Dorian? I got too much sun. Oh man, your comment just left. Dadgummit. When I was in high school, Dorian, we used to come hang out on this parking lot and talk to Mary Jane and talk about life with her. I've always loved this park. And of course, you know, I'm here in Ferguson, where it's supposed to be a lovely, happy place. But of course, it's not. And we were reviewing the history of not only Ferguson, but Missouri as well. And so this is just a piece that I'd live stream on YouTube. Go back to seeing how easy that is. And my phone are too full to move anything around. And the only reason why my computer hasn't blown up from the attack it was under by CCN is because it's too full. So a virus or a worm can't hack your computer as long as your system is too full to do anything. How about that? Good piece of security intel for you. And of course, my dirty neighbor ran the pool. Ran it into the ground. I was talking about that earlier. We're in Old Ferguson. And we'll do a little garden tour at the end. Always a siren. Always gunshots. Always loud. Except for when it's silent. And then it's wonderful. Great place for a religious war. Every denomination you can think of here, but one denomination runs it all. And it ain't the Midwest Church of Christ, you know. Balmy, happy, not drought or flooded place you're in today. They say we're heading for drought. I believe it. You don't watching you. Come on. Let Mom cross. Nope. Let these guys go. That's when I got jaywalk, because you see, now there's nobody around to mess with me. Alright. Back across the street, going to the big yellow house. You know, a lot of people ran from North County in St. Louis 50, 60 years ago. Right about the time I was born. And of course now it's pushed out. I'm talking about the destruction. From here, very few businesses doing business. More and more corporations eating up the land and the resources. And like we talked about in our Ferguson history book, this place was made such a big deal about for those very strategic things. Manpower, resources, and location. I'd say this place is very relevant, being returned to the people. I also believe that there's no amount of money or recompense paid to offset this. And so I think, here again, they ought to give us all the bomb shelters, the old Southwest Bell buildings, across the globe. Turn them into community centers. You could have a floor for homeless people. And then, of course, the underground layer. I mean, shoot, you could turn into a bowling alley or whatever, shuffleboard. I mean, can you imagine what you would be able to do with a building like this? I think about it all the time. Now, most of them are vacant, and they've been vacant for years. This one happens to have about 20 to 30 workers that do something in all this space. What's the door say? Let's go see. Please make sure all deliveries go to the rear. If nobody answers, the office is unmanned. Yeah, there's nobody home, man. Are you kidding? They all go in the secret door on the parking lot. I know, because I live right here. Here's the funny thing about where I live. Royal Avenue. The whole street is no parking from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. When the tornadoes hit, our no parking sign was never put back up. They have accused me of doing things I don't do in my home because people park in front of my house and go get their stupid little Caesar's pizzas. That really bothers me. It's bad enough picking up baby diapers and chicken wings and pizza boxes. But watch how this works. And you can see how crooked these signs are because people are always hitting them. You know, people on their cell phones racing to get a $5.99 pizza. Okay, so you got no parking signs on both sides of the street. Now here's the law, okay? This first sign past that area, which would be our yard. Now here's what I got in big trouble for. You ready for this? This building was destroyed in the fires at the same time I was evicted from Church Street. And this building was rebuilt, paid for by the insurance company. And the guy who owns the building, his name is Doyle, he thought it'd be wise not to put an emergency exit on that. So let me ask you something. If you've got an attacker coming through your one front door, how are you going to get out? What are you going to do? Right. It's a trap. Now you're at the big yellow house. Okay. See how there's no parking sign? People park here all the time. I've had cops come with their guns drawn, accusing me of doing business when I'm not. Serious. Now, of course, there's the no parking sign, and you see all the trash. But, of course, they don't have to pick it up because they're inside. And there's their entry over there. Okay. We're back at 12 Royal. I just made this extended path the other day. I do a lot of gardening when I'm not servicing clients or speaking on YouTube. A lot of it's garden. So I'm just walking you through the garden. Now, this is interesting up ahead where the circle is. Those are the actual bricks from the chimney when the chimney got hit at the tornado. So, let me show you our new chimney. One of the only new things on the house. There it is. And you see that big black box up there? That is a bat house. Because bats eat mosquitoes. And mosquitoes bite people. So, we don't like them. Alright. And of course that great old bike. This is a bunch of white raspberry bushes in here. Love the weeping willow. And of course the back garden, which is always the messiest. But that eye was built back when my oldest was going to get married here. And then that whole thing went south, but that's alright. Such is the wages of war. And we're in a war whether you know it or not, so. Alright. I gotta paint her today. Look at that naked girl. Get out to the store later and do that, right? And in the meantime, we're back at my neighbor's house. Alright, man. Peace, love, and light to y'all from the big yellow house on the third cosmic ray. In Sue's world. I'm home. Let's turn this off. How do you turn it off? Hola. Hola, tacos. Oops, that's me. Cancel that. Oh, look, I could have been a different color. I could be dance party. Doot, 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 doot. That's kind of cool. Let me just put that there while I try to unlock my door. I'm all different colors. What a trip. Alright. Wow. That was like totally, funkadelic, huh? Now we just gotta figure out how to turn it off. That should be fun. What else can we do while we're here? Haunt. Ooh, that's scary. They'll really call me an old hag. Documentary, Dawn. This, that. I'm still digging this one. Dance Party, man. I am so all over Dance Party USA. Can I turn the camera around? Well, sure, we can do Dance Party USA just like this, too. Very cool. Now, how do I turn it off? Let's get back to business. Share. Well, let's share it. Look, we're going right to Facebook. How about that? Dance. Party. Colors. And park walk. Post. Yes, I want to stop streaming.